don't think it's a computer.
Yeah, it's good shape, too. It's 5, 6 feet high, I'm guessing 9 feet long. Look at the extraordinary...
What'd you do?
He touched it. Dr. Grant's not mission compatible.
Oh, he got it in for me. And look at the half-moon-shaped bones on the wrists. No wonder these guys learn how to fly. No, seriously. All right. Well, maybe dinosaurs have more in common with present-day birds than they do with reptiles.
That doesn't look very scary. More like a 6-foot turkey.
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 Six-foot turkey. Turkey. 6-foot turkey. Okay. Try to imagine yourself in the Cretaceous period. Try to imagine yourself in the Cretaceous period. Imagine yourself in the Cretaceous period. You get your first look at this 6-foot turkey as you enter a clearing.
If you're feeling a bit cheated, try blaming the dinosaurs.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Paleontologizing. Oh, what am I doing here? Hang on a minute. That didn't work.
If you're
There we
feeling a
go.
bit cheated, try blaming the dinosaurs.
I'm working on my streaming laptop right now, and the number pad is not working the way it should be.
Mark Melbourne gifted a tier 1 sub.
Thank you, Mark Melbourne. I really appreciate that. Thank you kindly. Welcome everybody to Paleontologizing. And holy cow, we're in the middle of a hype train right now as we speak. Level 4 achieved. Matt M33, thank you for that gift to Mirgal Schmirgal. I appreciate that. GQUBD, thank you for the follow. Nosed Away, thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. And we do have some gifters here, absolutely. I want to shout out... oh, let's get our music going again. Hang on a minute. It looks like I closed that, so... There we go. And... Whoop, that's not it. Give me a second here. Music. There we are. There we are. Excellent. Well. Welcome, everybody, back to Paleontologizing. You can probably tell based on the background here, I am no longer in Wyoming. But yeah, I'm broadcasting to you from a secret location somewhere in the Great Lakes. Getting some hopefully well-deserved R&R before I go back out into the field in a couple weeks. Thank you, Tommy Ploticus, for that gift sub. I appreciate that very, very much. On today's stream, we're going to do kind of a recap. We're going to be looking at my past 3 weeks worth of fieldwork out in Wyoming. I'll be answering questions, showing you some of the photos that I took out there, talking about what we accomplished, and also giving you a sneak peek as to what our fieldwork is going to be like in a couple weeks out in eastern Utah. So it should be a fun, laid-back stream today. And you can see we've got the music and everything. I've got the sun in my eyes here. But I've got the laptop shielded from the sun so it doesn't overheat. But yeah, things are good. Yeah. And that's not a sunburn now, just, you know, camera's kind of wigging out right now. Midnight Serpent, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's great to have you here. Thanks for clicking that follow button. For anybody who's here for the very first time, let me give you a special welcome. Paleontologizing is, well, this is a channel in which I talk about paleontology. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. You probably know already that a paleontologist is a scientist who studies fossils. I work on dinosaur fossils in particular. I dig them up during the summer, like I was doing for a bunch of streams leading up to this out in Wyoming. We were streaming live from the field, got to witness what it's like to do a real-life dinosaur dig. And I'll be doing that again in a couple of weeks when I'm out in eastern Utah. I'll be out there for between 3 weeks and a month. And then, yeah, during the summer, when I'm not out digging dinosaurs during the summer, you know, during the fall, winter, and spring, I'm back in my office in the San Francisco Bay Area, talking about fossils, talking about the latest discoveries and publications in fossil science, answering all of your questions, trying to provide a good science outreach kind of experience, you know? If you've got questions about dinosaurs, my research wheelhouse, or if you've got questions about the fossil record in general, about the philosophy of science, about anything pertaining to the history of life on Earth, don't be shy with those questions. It is my duty and my privilege as a scientist to be able to talk to all of you and, yeah, show you what fossil science is all about. So welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. But yeah. The last VOD I said see you tomorrow. Yeah, we didn't actually, we got a rainstorm, a thunderstorm, as soon as I was going to start streaming on that last day. I think that was on, when was that? Thursday, I think. I was planning on doing a stream, had all the equipment up there. We got a thunderstorm right when I was about to start. So yeah. And, yeah, anywho. Yeah, and no longer at the Almond Formation. We have finished up our work there for the year, Doki Doki Baka, and, holy cow. We achieved a lot. I'm very excited about that. Yeah. And, Samikian, how are you doing? My kids love catching some of the dig streams. Well, excellent, Samikian. There's going to be a bunch more, starting around July 18th or so. I'm going to be out there between mid-July and mid-August. So, going to be streaming as often as I can. It's going to be a ton of fun. Yeah. And an attractive cactus says, are you celebrating Independence Day? Celebrating early with a stream. Welcome. Yeah. But yeah. Doki Doki wants to know, what did we all end up finding? A bunch of things. Holy cow. We've got at least 2 good hadrosaur sites from these duckbill dinosaurs, and then a new ceratopsian also, which is really exciting. And now that I'm streaming from my laptop, I can show you. There we go. Our ceratopsian dinosaur is not too dissimilar from this one here. May be a relative of Anchiceratops, whom you see here. Except it seems to be really, really big. The fragments of the frill that we got are enormously thick. So this could be almost a Triceratops-sized ceratopsian. One of the biggest ceratopsians in the world, maybe, based on just the thickness of the frill. So we'll see. And Lenina says, I'm so excited to see the papers that come out of that dig. Me too, Lenina. Holy cow. And yeah, and everybody who contributed $100 or more to the fundraiser will have their name in the acknowledgement section in all of the papers that come out of that.
If they're removed.
And Chartreuse Charcuterie, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It is great to have you here. Thank you for your support. It's the reason that I can continue to do this. It's because of supporters like you, so thank you very much for that. Excellent. Yeah. So yeah, and dinosaurs are very cool, Chartreuse. I agree wholeheartedly. So our other dinosaur, or another of our dinosaurs, might be pretty similar to this guy, Cretosaurus. You know, this is all pending further study. We're not totally sure what this will turn out to be, but based on the morphology of the lower jaw, it seems like our new duck-billed dinosaur might be from the same family as this guy. But it is an enormous creature. Like, yeah, probably a bit bigger than that. So yeah, over 10 meters long, we're thinking. Maybe approaching like 13 meters. Really, really big animal. So, yeah, we are quite excited about this guy too. This is the Skull Ridge site. Yeah, that animal might turn out to be this kind of hadrosaur. It's some sort of duck-billed dinosaur. You know, hadrosaurs are your classic duck-billed dinosaurs. There's a bunch of plastic toys of different hadrosaurs. Yeah, there's some Edmontosaurus there. Maybe our other one that we don't have skull material from yet, maybe closer to this guy. And Simikian, thank you for resubscribing with Prime. I appreciate that very much. Excellent. Good stuff. Yeah. Excellent. It's funny, on my feed it says 3 hours ago you just resubscribed. Because I had to change the time zone on my computer and that messed everything up. So, anyway. Yeah, and Claire Burr, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Great to see you here, Claire. Hope you're doing well. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Welcome, welcome to everybody. We've got about 175 people watching right now. Is that up to date? 193? Excellent. Yeah, this is kind of an interim stream while I'm here on R&R, Rest and Relaxation, in between going back out to Utah to dig more dinosaurs. I'll be out there in about 2 weeks, or a little bit less than that, maybe. So yeah. And Claire Burr, I do need to respond to your emails. This is true. Yes. Yeah. And SB says, Edmontosaurus. Gee, I wonder where it was discovered. Near Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Here, let me go ahead and pull up some of our photos. Here, for those of you who didn't see. Yeah, I got stuck in Chicago Airport for a good while. But got to meet an old friend of mine there. The big Brachiosaurus that they have from the Field Museum. It's in the United Terminal. That was pretty cool, being able to see her again. What a cool fossil mount. Yeah, something like 40 feet tall. Every airport should have a resident dinosaur. Oh, and there's some more dinosaurs out on the beach, right over here. But yeah. Anyway, dinosaurs everywhere. It's what you come to paleontologizing for, right? Yeah. But yeah. Thank you, Fall Machine A. This community is growing. People love the fieldwork streams, and I am super lucky to be able to provide those. So yeah. But if anybody's got any questions about our fieldwork from this past summer, you let me know. Here's my field vehicle, right here, back in Utah. This picture really doesn't capture how dirty it was coming back from fieldwork, but holy cow. Yeah, the Prius was filthy. Yeah. But man, do I love my car. Yeah.
But the paleontologist field isn't narrow to
And
what we
Nutter,
understand. On
thanks
the
for the follow.
contrary, we
Yeah.
use that understanding to try and take in the universe.
Yeah. Seen some dirt for sure. Yeah, the off-road Prius, Tommy Plodicus. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. And carrying some weight out of there, definitely Fall Machine, yeah. Yeah. An Earth tour, that's pretty funny. Uh-oh. Somebody stop that kid, uh-oh.
I'm probably doing my road trip in late October.
Oh, very
keep in
cool.
mind If you want a 2-week down under road trip, haha.
Oh, I am actually, late October, I think I'm going to be busy, Dinosaur Dave, but I appreciate you. I'm going to be at TwitchCon, and I can neither confirm nor deny the idea that there's going to be any sort of special event or anything like that regarding science on Twitch. So yeah, you didn't hear it from me. You didn't hear from me that I could neither confirm nor deny the presence or absence of anything going on at all whatsoever. You didn't hear it here. But yeah. But I will be going to TwitchCon. Yes, indeed, Dr. Irrefutable. Yes, indeed. Yeah. And,
You need to take some of your own advice.
well, hang on a minute here.
Aren't you the man who told me to live every week like it's Shark Week? And that nothing's impossible except for dinosaurs? Don't give up on life, sir.
Wow.
Mikey Likes, holy cow, thank you.
4 months. That's almost like a year.
It is almost a whole year, Mikey
Dinosaurs
Likes.
were
Thank
the
you,
sort of
thank you.
Creatures you might think of as inhabiting another planet,
There you go.
or the kind you dream of in a bad nightmare.
Indeed, Ironheart. Indeed, thank you for the 36 months. Holy cow. Also, almost a whole year. Incredible. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for keeping this community going and all that. Yeah. Excellent. So yeah. Anyway. And Dread Pirate Robert says, you may or may not be confirming or refusing to confirm that something may or may not happen regarding science at TwitchCon. Allegedly in a video game. In a dream, Dread Pirate Robert, yes. Yeah. But anyway, I will be at TwitchCon, just to let you know. And I'm looking forward to it. And there you go. Lordy is here. How are you doing, Lordy? Welcome.
That
Long
is
time no see.
History of life. It's very quirky,
Sea Frog.
fortuitous, chancy character. We are
Yeah.
literally here only because of the good fortune of dinosaur extinction.
It's true. Sea Frog, thank you for these 7 months of support. I really appreciate that. Yeah. And G. Shumway, how are you doing? Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Not a single cavity. I apologize about the lighting conditions here, but I am outdoors right now, and yeah, hopefully you can see. I can't really tell if I'm in focus right now. This is a manual focus camera, so maybe we'll do some optometric stuff later. And we can even do that now. Is this better or worse? That looks worse to me. Uh-oh, not in focus anymore, Smorphosaurus. And, FFEJ Warrior. Hey, the Sternberg Museum in Hayes, Kansas. All right. Well, welcome. It's good to have you here. I should be in better focus right now. Is that better? Yeah. How's that? Yeah? All right. Good stuff. And holy cow, we've got a raid here. Thank you, Time Pass.
Arrived with 2 raiders.
A Time Passes? What a great username. Yeah. Welcome. It's great to have you here. Good stuff. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah, let's open this up.
We have the Tradoon.
And Rose Sand, thank you so much for the 15 months of support. I appreciate that more than you know. Thank you. Good stuff. And I love this Parasaurolophus honk thing. That is lovely. Thank you, Smorf. And wait, shoot, I'm trying to open this, but OBS will only open them in a separate window. Let me see if I can open them from Twitch right here. And we'll take a look at that. There we go. Yeah. We've got a Triceratops horridus right there. Very nice, Smorf. I like that a lot. And now a GIF of a honking Parasaurolophus.
Here's a
Very, very nice.
step-by-step guide to becoming a fossil.
Good stuff.
Step 1, die.
Uh-oh. Heg Pets, thank you for the 14 months of support. I appreciate that tremendously. Thank you, thank you. Good stuff. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. And I think we had a new chatter here. Who was that? And where's my hat? Risa Dago, that's a great question, actually. I might have to go get that, because that would also shield my face from the sun right now. Yeah. And Matt M33, thank you for that gift sub to Moosey Fate. What are we at now in terms of our sub goal?
34 gift subs in the channel.
We're at 28 out of 100. Thank you, thank you. That is tremendous, and I appreciate it very much. Yeah. Time pass. I'm really glad that you were able to successfully raid. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Maybe let me explain myself here. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. So that means talking about fossils, discussing some of the latest publications in fossil science, and during the summer, streaming live dinosaur digs. That's where I was for the past 3 weeks out in western Wyoming, digging up dinosaurs. And FFBJ Warrior, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. But yeah, live streaming some dinosaur digs out in western Wyoming. And now I've got a little bit of a break/vacation R&R kind of deal. And after this, I'm going to be heading out to eastern Utah and digging up some dinosaurs there. So yeah. And yeah. Oh, and thank you, Garcon.
He'll tell you that
Time passed. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, there's my hat. Yeah. Much better. Just keep the sun out of my eyes and everything. But yeah. All right, scrolling down. Jay Neilfor says, I remember you. Welcome back, Jay Neilfor. Good to have you here. Grady and Magnus, what's shaking? Good to have you here too. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. Excellent. Let's see, scrolling down, trying to catch up. 20 out of 100. There you go, Tommy Platigus. Yeah. Is Wyoming the dinosaur heartland, says Time Pass. It's an excellent place to find dinosaur fossils for certain, yeah. If there's any place in the world that's like, well, any place in the U.S. that would be like the U.S. capital for dinosaurs, it would probably have to be Utah, actually. But yeah. Which is where I'm going to be in just a couple weeks. Digging up some dinosaurs out near Moab, Utah. And I'm going to be streaming it too, so that's... Stay tuned for that. Very, very excited to be spending between 3 weeks and a month out near Moab, Utah. Yeah. And welcome, Grainy and Magnus. Hey, you are in for a treat. Holy cow. Today we're just having a chill stream, talking about my fieldwork from the past few weeks. Joshua, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. But yeah, here, I need to adjust my... change date and time. There we go. Let's set that to automatic. There we go. And that should help. Good stuff. Yeah. Anyway, we're just talking about 3 weeks of fieldwork out in Wyoming, which was wonderful, and that was actually funded by this community. Going to be showing off some photos and stuff from all of that, and then we'll be talking about my fieldwork in Utah, which is coming up shortly. So yeah. Where do we start here? Yeah, there. I guess we could start here. Yeah. So this is at, what was it, Western Wyoming Community College. I did a stream from here on the day that we left, on departure day, when we were going out to the field. And that was a lot of fun. Here's a mounted Stegosaurus skeleton cast that they have there. So this was a good omen. They had dinosaurs right there. And we ended up finding some brand new dinosaurs. One's a lot younger than Stegosaurus when we were out there in the field. So yeah, yeah. And Creatrix Brit says, is there a known fossil mecca? I guess there's many around the world. Creatrix Brit, yeah. The western U.S., going up into Canada, and I guess even going south down into Mexico. That is maybe the best region in the world for finding dinosaur fossils of all different time periods. Everything from the Triassic up through the end of the Cretaceous. You really can't beat Western North America. Yeah, that's where Stegosaurus is from, for instance. Only from Western North America. So yeah, if there's anything close to like a promised land of dinosaurs, Western North America would be it, for sure. Yeah. But yeah. But that's just for dinosaurs, of course. Dinosaurs first evolved about 235 million years ago. They go up until 66 million years ago, and then they go extinct, except for birds. So yeah, for those particular ages of rocks, Western North America, you really can't beat it. Yeah. But yeah. And a state park named after that's named after Utah Raptor, Mikey likes. That's Utah Raptor State Park. Which, I think it's been officially designated, right? Utah Raptor State Park. There we go. Yeah, at utah.gov. I'm going to be not too far from here in just a few weeks. Yeah. Very nice. Located roughly 15 miles northwest of Moab in Grand County, Utah. That's not too far from where I'm going to be digging. We're not going to be digging up Utah Raptor per se. We're going to be digging up some dinosaurs that are a little bit younger, or excuse me, older. Maybe the ancestor of Utah Raptor will be one of the dinosaurs that we find when we're out there. But yeah, anyway. Utah Raptor State Park in good old Utah. There's a link there if you're interested. Yeah. Yeah. And that borders Arches National Park? It probably does, Mikey likes, yeah. And it is awesome, Moohoodles, yeah. My boss in the field, Jim Kirkland, the one who's leading our crew out there in eastern Utah, he was instrumental in the creation of Utah Raptor State Park. And Dr. Terra says, is that where the Carcharodontosaur jaw fragment was found? It was found in the place where I'm going to be digging again. Yeah. In fact, we're going to see if we can find some more of that animal. Yeah. So, the dinosaur that we're going to be digging up, hopefully, the one that we're after, when we're out there in Utah, is going to be kind of similar to this. It's a Carcharodontosaur. This is, Siach. That's how you say that name. There we go. Yeah. So it's kind of related to Allosaurus from the Jurassic, which is the state fossil of Utah. But, yeah. It's about the same size as Allosaurus, but they probably got bigger. Carcharodontosaurs are like the descendants of Allosaurs, and they get pretty large. And we've got one of the back skull bones of one of these critters. And thank you, Kipperk, for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Yeah. But yeah. And is there a fundraiser for Dig Site 2? There is not yet, Science Streams. So we're actually funded through the Utah Geological Survey. So, like, that's a state agency for the state of Utah. But our funding there is... we're working on a shoestring budget. So we're going to try and find some more of this dinosaur on just a shoestring budget. That kind of limits how long we can stay out there and how much food we have and all that. But, like last summer, if anybody would like to make a direct contribution, I'll have a command. In fact, it might still be up. A command for Dawn DeBlue's Venmo. If you want to Venmo the paleontologists to send us some more money for food, we would certainly appreciate it. So, There it is right there, Don. Thank you, Claire Burr. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Don DeBlue is the assistant state paleontologist for the state of Utah, so you don't have to worry about him being legit. He's one of our fearless leaders out there. And Mirgle Schmirgle, it's a very unofficial fundraiser. Like, just send us a few bucks so we can buy some more veggie burgers and mustard and stuff. And Mahoodle says, I'm glad Utah funds y'all. That's honestly really nice to hear. I mean, funds. They pay the wages of the 2 staff paleontologists, and they give us a couple $100 for food. So yeah, really can't complain about that, I suppose. But yeah, most of the equipment and stuff we already have. We've got a little bit of money for fuel, but it's all volunteer labor, you know? So, like, I'm not getting paid to be out there unless I stream. So yeah. Inky says, how's the solar working out? It's hot and bright right now, so I guess the sun's certainly doing its job, you know? In fact, what does that remind me of? Balloon, thank you for the follow and welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Billable Hours, thanks for clicking that follow button. Good to have you here. Doing your job, Mr. Sun. I'm not using solar power right now. I'm in civilization currently. But here we go. Yeah. Oh. We've got an alert. Mike 160787. Thank you for following. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. You got some good hair.
Well, you're certainly doing your job today, Mr. Sun. Oh, rats.
Yeah. Gotta love it. Oh, relatable, says Fedorsaur. Yeah. And where am I right now? I'm broadcasting to you from a secret location. Hello, Kitty S-Cat. Somewhere along the Great Lakes. And it's really nice to be able to have a bit of a vacation before I go out to the field again, you know? Because I'm heading back out to eastern Utah in less than 2 weeks now. Yeah. And I'm going to be doing some more digging starting around the 18th, I think. We leave somewhere between the 16th and the 18th. And yeah, I'll be streaming as often as I can from out there, too. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you'll join me for that. And time passes. What do paleontologists think of these dinosaur recreation images? How accurate are they? It depends. So some of them, like Siach that we were looking at earlier. This one here. This is actually based... Well, this was commissioned by a scientist to go with the press release for this paper. So, like, if we click this... There we go. Yeah. Siach microrum, new giant dinosaur found in Utah. This is 2013. So the scientists who published the paper actually paid an artist to create this image. And so this is pretty well up to our standards. This is pretty good for what a Carcharodontosaur would look like. But other ones tend to be pretty crummy, you know? Generally, the more, like, scientific input you have into an image, the more authentic it's going to be, the more accurate it's going to be, you know? So yeah. And it is a type of Allosauroids, Morphosaurus, yeah. This is a Carcharodontosaur. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. And yeah, Lindsay Zano, I think, was the lead author on this paper. And yeah, she was at the same conference that I was at a few weeks ago before I left for the field. So she and her team were presenting a bunch of research there. Thank you, DVD Linus, for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Yeah. So the name that they chose for this critter is pretty interesting. The genus name is Siach, refers to a cannibalistic monster from the mythology of the Ute Native American people. Its specific name, its species name, Microrum, acknowledges the Meeker family for their support for early career paleontologists at the Field Museum. Very cool. So there is an example of somebody who provided financial support, the Meeker family, and then now their name is attached to a dinosaur for all time. Yeah. Siach Meekerorum. Anytime that you hear orum at the end of a, like a species name like that, that designates, like, it honors a group of people, like 2 or more people. So, like, Maiasaura peeblesaurum, it honors the Peebles family. I think on whose land Maiasaura was first dug up? Or something? Something like that. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Carcharodontosaur. There you go, Curtis Baca. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. And let's see, did I miss some questions? Bill Blower says Great Lakes are the best. Can't wait to go, to the UP. Oh, yeah, Durhe. Oh, yeah, say yeah to the UP, Durhe. Good stuff. And, Get us Aider, hey, thank you. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Yeah. Clipper, thank you. Yeah, let's take a look at that dinosaur deep dive for Mirgle Schmirgle. As Mirgle points out, that was not a dinosaur, but let's take a look at it anyway. What was it? Georgocetus? There we go. Georgocetus is some kind of whale from Georgia, given the name. Oh yeah, very cool. This is a walking whale. Very neat. I'm not actually familiar with this taxon. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, whales started off on land. This is long after the dinosaurs went extinct, except for birds. But whales, they start off as land-living creatures, and then they adopt kind of this almost like crocodilian kind of body plan. And, yeah. Maybe going after land-living animals, kind of like a crocodile would, something like that. That looks like maybe a little horse that it's about to eat. Or some kind of critter like that. But, yeah. There's a wonderful little video. Yeah, whales evolution. Beautiful. And Tortillas, hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. Yeah. So this kind of illustrates over tens of millions of years the evolution of whales from land-living mammals, hoofed mammals actually, ungulates, artiodactyls, related to like related to hippos and like deer and stuff like that. Yeah, their evolution into fully aquatic marine animals, which is pretty neat to think about. Yeah. So yeah. So Georgocetus is about this stage, like kind of near like Cuchicitus, I think. And then Dorudon comes later. There's a bunch of species in between each of these. So we've got a pretty smooth gradation nowadays. Like, the evolution of whales is one of the best studied and best understood of all of the major transitions in vertebrate life. Whales going from land-living animals to fully aquatic oceanic animals. So yeah, very cool stuff. Life winds away. G. Shumway, 86. Yes, indeed, it does. So yeah. Here, I wonder if we find a video on Georgocetus? Well, let's take a look at this. Yeah, so whales first evolved from a land-living hoofed critter like that. You know, something like Indohyus. Yeah. So it almost reminds me of like an agouti or something like that, but those are rodents. They're not related to these guys. So they would have evolved from a small hoofed mammal that lived on land, like this guy. A digitigrade artiodactyl. Small chevrotain-like animal. And then Pachycetus. Yep. So these guys are probably amphibious. That's probably Ambulocetus there. Yeah, Ambulocetus. What a great name. Ambulocetus. The name means walking whale. Ambulo, like ambulatory, or like to amble, to walk. Cetus, meaning whale. So walking whale. Great name. Yeah. And Remingtonocetus. Yeah, I think most of these are like free illustrations available on Wikipedia. They're like Creative Commons licensed. But somebody's made a really cool video out of it. Rhodocetus? Yeah. And then Georgicetus. There we go. Yeah, so it's really starting to look like a whale at this point. Which is cool. In fact, these guys are probably not amphibious anymore. They were, those limbs do not look like they're well adapted for walking on land. They're probably fully committed to the water at this point. Probably could not leave the water. And yeah, it says here, Georgicetus lacked a solid contact between the vertebral column and the pelvis. So yeah, their hips are just kind of floating there in the back of their body. Well, thank you, Potato Salad, and thank you for the follow. Welcome. It's good to have you here. Yeah. In fact, all the vertebrae in the hip region are separate, indicating that this early whale lacked a sacrum. Wow. So the way that our hips are kind of like fused together in our pelvis, that helps us support our weight and everything, these guys didn't have that. That shows that their hind limbs were not supporting their weight at all. These are critters that would, they need the water to buoy them up. You put them on land and they're, you know, they can't support their own weight. Oh yeah. Yeah. Cool stuff. That's about 40 million years ago, according to this. And then Dorudon, like we saw in the other one. Yeah, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Is this Basilosaurus? Yeah. So Basilosaurus, or Basilosaurus, depending on how you're feeling. Not a dinosaur. None of these are dinosaurs, obviously. These are whales. They're much more closely related to us than they are to any dinosaur. The reason it's called Basilosaurus is because when they first found it, people thought, oh, this must be some sort of giant reptile. So they named it Basilosaurus, which means king lizard, or king reptile. But no, it's a whale. Very much a whale. And even though the name is, like, wrong like that, the name is very misleading, it doesn't really matter. Like, the name stays, even though it's misleading. Just like Oviraptor. The name means egg thief. It's a kind of theropod dinosaur. It didn't actually steal eggs at all. That was a mistake, but the name stays. So yeah, Basilosaurus. Yeah. An iconic song? Yeah. Mammals just had to go back and dominate the ocean too. They did. They did a very good job of it. Yeah, Jonjucetus. Good song. Yeah. And that's a great question, Subpar Umpire. What are the best ways we can determine the external body characteristics, average amount of fat and musculature, for example, of dinosaurs or even whales if they aren't preserved? It's a matter of debate, you know? Like, we argue about those things all the time. Here, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. After we go through this whale roundup here. Who is that? Cedotherium, the whale beast. Very straightforward name. And is that? Yeah, the blue whale, Balaenoptera musculus. And the humpback whale, Megathera. I forget the species name for Megathera. But yeah. Anyway. Let's see, let's try Patagotitan skeletal. For dinosaurs like this, when we think about Patagotitan, one of the biggest dinosaurs ever found, it's so big it like barely fits on the screen. There is a lot of debate as to like how much fat and muscle these animals would have. Thank you, KO Don 18 for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. We can get some kind of handle on how much muscle they would have by looking at what we call muscle scars on their bones. And so, you know, bones are like a living tissue, and they change as the animal grows. And there will be various muscles and ligaments that attach to certain bones, and those actually put stress on the bone, and they actually develop what we call muscle scars. And so you can look at the size of those muscle scars, and you can have some sort of idea of how big those muscles were. Yeah. But apart from that, it's tricky to actually be able to say how much bulk they would have over their skeleton. Here in this reconstruction, you see there's a big black space on the top of the neck. Well, we think these guys would have had big nuchal ligaments and stuff running over their neural spines on their cervical vertebrae, their neck vertebrae. But how big would those be? How much space? You know, like, how much flesh? How much heft would they have on there? Different opinions, you know, vary on that among paleontologists. So, yeah. And you're welcome, Subpar Empire. It's a great question. I appreciate it. Yeah. And Rizzy Cat says, do you believe they had more porous muscle and fat tissue to lighten their density and weight? I mean, we know that they did have a lot of air sacs and hollows. Thank you, Akozini, for the follow. Welcome. Let's see. Here we go. There's a nice figure showing a young sauropod dinosaur, nicknamed Dolly. There we go. Everything that's in blue that you see here is air. That's inside the body, by the way. So this kind of electric blue here, very saturated blue, those are air sacs inside the animal's torso, just like birds have. This darker blue, that's the lungs. And then this lighter kind of sky blue, those are pneumaticities in the vertebrae. So basically, those are hooked up to the lungs and to the air sacs. So when the animal would take a breath in, that's that red arrow, like that. The air would go into the lungs and then into the air sacs, and then through all of these hollows in the vertebrae up here too. So these dinosaurs were full of air, and it would have made them considerably lighter than you might imagine. Extremely efficient animals. And that's one of the reasons why they were able to grow so tremendously large, is because of that really cool architecture where they've got all these air sacs and hollows. So yeah. This is part of why them runny eggs. Thank you for the question. It wasn't that there was more oxygen back then. We know that's not the case. More food? Not really. Wasn't that it was less crowded. If anything, these dinosaurs would have been more common than, say, like elephants out on the African plains. Yeah, we actually have I do have a link for that. Yeah, there we go. That's not opening where it's supposed to. Let me copy and paste this. But there's what we call an evolutionary cascade model that kind of helps explain why dinosaurs like this were able to get so very large. There we go. Yeah, this is a paper by Martin Sander. So yeah, basically the idea is there are a bunch of different factors that all kind of contribute to one another. They just kind of snowball so that these dinosaurs could get really, really big.
Wow, it's not the dinosaur we know.
And Vanille ZZ, hey, holy cow. I really appreciate those 5 months of support. Thank you, Vanille.
I'm excited for your Utah fieldwork coming up soon. Smiley face.
I'm very excited too, Vanille. I hope your streams have been going really, really well. I've been getting notifications about them. I haven't been able to watch any lately, but I hope they've been going really well. Welcome back, Vanille. Yeah, hope things are good. So anyway, yeah. Basically the idea is that these big sauropod dinosaurs with their huge long necks, long tails, and big bulky bodies walking on 4 legs, they were kind of uniquely positioned to get really, really big. And Ironbark, thank you for the 12 months of support. That is excellent. Appreciate you, Ironbark. Thank you. Yeah. And Cliff Alistair McLean says, so the sauropod neck works a bit like an inflatable air dancer figure? Not, well, almost. In fact, actually, let me show you. I've got a little video about that. Yeah, a friend and colleague of mine did a really cool talk with the Royal Tyrrell Museum all about sauropods. So if you want to learn more about these dinosaurs, this is your best possible resource for that in like video form. Kerry Woodruff is one of the world authorities on sauropods. There's the link right there. And I used to do field with him out in Montana.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
But let me
edition of the Royal Trail Museum Speaker Series.
let me find this part.
And its cooperating society.
Here we go.
Mr. Kerry Woodruff. Kerry is currently a PhD candidate.
Here we go.
And that was Thompson's sauropod suspension bridge model. And the big reason
Turn the volume up.
troubling me, and it'd been so popular for time immemorial, but the big issue is a bridge is meant for static forces.
Yeah.
A bridge is meant to be
Is that
stable and things.
the Golden Gate
move
Bridge right
over.
there? Oh.
Generally speaking, if you have a moving bridge, there is a problem. So I kept figuring that the sauropod suspension bridge, while superficially there were elements of it that certainly I think are suitable and analogous, it's not a really good model for the sauropod bow plan. And I
Yeah.
kept thinking about this, and it kept troubling me.
So the suspension bridge, not the best model for how their necks work. Because bridges don't really move. They're not supposed to do that. The whole like air dancer thing at the car dealership, also not necessarily the best analogy, but Kerry had a almost like you know the old story about like something falling on a scientist's head and then they've got an idea suddenly, you know, at that eureka moment. Like yeah, kind of like when old Chucky D. Charles Darwin was out in the Galapagos and then a monkey fell on his head and then suddenly he has the idea for, you know, evolution. Kidding. This is a lot like that.
And I was driving along with my ex-wife one day
Here we go.
to go visit her grandparents, and I was thinking about this. We were driving in Montana, and I happened to look off in a field, and I see a thing out in this field that I've seen 1,000 times before in a field. But I realized there in the moment that was my
There we go.
Newton's apple. That here I was looking at something that was what I thought was a perfect mechanical analog to a sauropod. I was so captivated with it that I in fact drove off the road, much to my ex-wife's dismay, and she couldn't understand why I was jumping out of the car and taking pictures of a central pivot irrigator.
Yeah.
So
Anybody
those
seen these
who may not
before?
be familiar with central pivot irrigators, you know, they're very
And thank you, Autumnal Fire, for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's great to have you here. Thank you, thank you. Yeah.
popular irrigation system here in the West. If you've ever been flying and you wonder what all those circles are, it's because of these pivot irrigators.
Yeah, and again, obligatory. I feel like we do this every single time. We, here we go. Let's see. Yeah. Burp. Why is it muted?
Now, in a moment, we'll be raffling off our grand prize, a ride on the famous Duff Beer Blimp.
A ride on the Duff Blimp.
You see the circular pattern on those fields? That's from Central Pivot Irrigation.
Wow.
Now let's see what's happening at the Super Bowl.
Oops, sorry.
So anyway, that's Central Pivot Irrigation.
May not be familiar with central pivot irrigators, you know, they're a very popular irrigation system here in the West. If you've ever been flying and you
Oh,
wonder
very
what
cool,
all those
Rose
circles
Sand.
are,
I should
it's
check that
because
out,
of
that
these
video.
Pivot irrigators.
Yeah.
And a lot of pivot irrigators, the way they're designed is they have this long horizontally extended piece, that's the sprayer.
Mhm.
And then they have these
There you go,
brackets that
Sabar,
run
yes.
along the top and a left and right cable that's suspended between
Yep.
these
Just
V-shaped
like on the nuchal ligaments
fact,
on those
when
neural spines on their
the central
vertebrae.
pivot irrigator was actually introduced to the world in the 1976 issue of Science magazine. It was hailed and purposely designed that way for dealing with stresses as it moves left and right.
Very
in the
cool.
field.
So,
I argued that the central pivot irrigator is a much more better mechanical analog to certain sauropods.
yep.
But the whole key to this, what I think is the sort of the linchpin, the success story of this, is that split ligament. Now,
Yep. Anyway, so he kind of goes on there, but the idea with big sauropods like this, especially the diplodocid sauropods, is they're probably feeding very low to the ground. They're probably eating like, you know, maybe at ground level or a little bit higher. So if they can swing their neck back and forth very efficiently because of those nuchal ligaments, they can basically eat a ton of plants while exerting very, very little energy. And that's one of the keys to their success, is they can walk like just 2 steps, plant their feet there, and then just swing their neck in a very wide arc and just be able to gobble up all of these plants in this huge arc like this. And then they take a step forward and do the same thing.
Look, there's a bird, dude. It knows what's good. Tony, I just heard it inside.
Ariella Studies, thank you for the raid and welcome.
And their 21 raiders also know what's good.
Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. Freedom Dow, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Ariella Studies, how was your stream? Hope it was really good. And Dragoonite, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Yeah. That first one wasn't a dinosaur. That was Dimetrodon, actually. Anyway, Fake Stereo, thank you for being here. Pericles the Eighth. Welcome, welcome. Yeah.
If they're removed, America loses them forever.
It's great to have you here. Holy cow. And Fake Stereo, thank you for the follow. Dragoonite, thank you for following. Pericles, thank you for following. Tundra Cowboy, thank you for following. And Lenina, thank you for gifting Ariella Studies. I appreciate that. I should an excellent stream in the lab. I'm very glad to hear that. Excellent. That is fantastic. Well, welcome everyone to Paleontologizing. It's great to have you here. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. You folks are probably pretty clever. You probably already know that a paleontologist is a scientist who studies fossils. I work on dinosaur fossils in particular. And just a few days ago, I was out in western Wyoming, digging up some dinosaurs there and streaming it. And thank you, Ryu Spitfire and Body by Gravy for your follows. It's good to have you here. Yeah, as a dinosaur paleontologist, I dig up dinosaurs, I study them, I publish on them in the scientific literature, and I talk about dinosaurs and other fossil critters, and science in general, usually 5 days a week when I'm back home in my office. But this summer, I'm out traveling, digging up dinosaurs in various places, and streaming one off whenever I can. So right now I'm on some R&R, rest and relaxation, before I start my next dig out in eastern Utah. Going to be there for between 3 weeks and a month, and we're going to be digging up a bunch of dinosaurs. I'll be taking you along for the ride, doing fieldwork live streams, like I've been doing for the past 3 weeks out in Wyoming. So yeah. And Snow Scarlet says, that's such a cool profession. It used to be my childhood dream job. Well, now you can experience it secondhand, I guess, if you want to. You stick around, and I'll be showing you what it's like to dig up dinosaurs in just a little bit. Yeah, about 2 weeks. Heard you found a new dinosaur out there in Wyoming? We did, Ariella Studies, several, actually. At least 2. Maybe more. Yeah. And Fishing Occasions, thank you for being here. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Yeah. Stillwater, thank you for the follow, too. And the Mighty Mouse. Good to have you here. Holy cow. Yeah. So yeah. Can you name the dinosaur after R2-D2 in Star Wars? It's not necessarily my dinosaur to name. Yeah. The group leader who, like, organized the expedition, he's already got some names picked out to honor some people, some of his colleagues and bosses and mentors. So yeah. There might be a dinosaur named after Jim Kirkland at some point. Might be a dinosaur named after another museum person. So yeah. But yeah, let's get back to our recap. We were going off on all kinds of tangents and stuff, but let's talk about the past 3 weeks worth of work out there in western Utah. Here we go. So, this is where we had our camp, which is pretty cool. Yeah. This is on the day that we arrived. Beautiful sandstone formations all around camp. It was like being in some sort of sandstone medieval fortress or something. And, yeah. Take a look at that. There was a rainbow on our first day. Just as soon as we got into where we were supposed to camp, of course it starts raining right then. And so I was trying to put up my tent in the rain, and that's what it's like out in eastern Wyoming, western Wyoming. Weather can be really unpredictable, and, you know, a couple miles away it might be dry and sunny and beautiful, and then one big storm cloud comes through and just drenches an area, and then just keeps going. So yeah. Fishing Occasion says, so this channel is all about dinosaurs? Dinosaurs and fossil science in general. I study dinosaurs in particular, Fishing Occasions, but if you've got questions about any other fossil critters, or about science in general, then you're in the right place. Yeah. But dinosaurs are what I study and what I publish on and what I dig up, so yeah. 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 I like that your bot says last seen doing science and technology. Last seen playing. Yeah, I think I changed that, Ariella Studies. Yeah. By the way, tell me about your stream, Ariella. I don't think I saw if you talked about that. How did it go? Somebody said you were doing some work in the lab? Tell me about it. I want to hear about it. Yeah. And Peter Steves, thank you. I appreciate that. It's because of viewers like you that I'm able to do this sort of thing. So yeah. Freedom Dow says, were fossils planted by aliens to mess with us? No, I can assure you they were not. Do you want to talk about how fossils form? Let's do that for a second. Murph, holy cow. Look at this very enthusiastic bird heralding all of these subs. That's amazing, Murph. In fact, uh-oh. Oh, shoot. Might want to take cover here. Shoot.
Murph is overloading the system with 10 gift subs.
Thank you, Murph. Holy cow. 10 gift subs is extraordinary, and I really appreciate that. Man, what are we at now? With our sub goal. We're at 40 out of 100 already. 4/10 of the way there. 2/5. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. Yeah. Ariella Studies doing wet lab work. Ooh, sounds messy. I'm an MD, PhD student, so I do biomedical research. Very nice. Plasmid DNA from bacterial samples. Thank you, Ariella Studies. Very neat. Everybody, go follow Ariella Studies if that sounds interesting to you. A fellow scientist streamer. Excellent. Very, very cool. Well, I hope your sequences all come back clean and that they're not too expensive. I know sending things off for lab work can get pretty pricey. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, and very nice iWix Arts. Hey, congrats on that. I hope they give you an A. Beautiful. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, we were going to talk about how does one go about becoming a fossil? So, yeah, let's pull this up. Right here. About 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah. How does one become a fossil? Here we go.
Here's a step-by-step guide to becoming a fossil. Step 1, die. Once you are dead, your remains may be scavenged by other organisms. Step 2, get buried fast. If you are buried rapidly, your remains won't completely decay or be carried away by scavengers.
Yep.
Your best bet for rapid burial is to die near or in a river, lake, or ocean where water can deposit sediment over you.
There we go.
Step 3.
Yeah.
Soak in groundwater for a long, long time. Groundwater contains minerals. Over time, dissolved minerals can harden after filling in cavities in your skeleton. Or the water can dissolve your skeleton, leaving only minerals in its place.
So most of the dinosaur fossils we had this summer
skeleton will turn to stone.
were partially permineralized. So there's probably a lot of organic material still left in them, like a lot of the actual bone mineral and stuff is probably still in there. They weren't completely replaced by minerals. But in the case of a lot of trilobites and stuff like that, it probably is a lot of just replacement directly, you know? But yeah.
And you'll be a fossil.
Yeah.
Step 4. Wait to be exposed.
Yeah.
As the years go by, if you're lucky,
And Pericles,
sea
that's really
levels
cool.
can fall or
I
rock
thought of
in the
that.
road and expose you. Then, if your luck holds out, you might get spotted by a fossil hunter and wind up in a museum collection where scientists can study you to learn about evolution.
There we go. That's what we were doing out in the field for the past 3 weeks out there in Wyoming. And it's been a huge privilege to be able to share that with you. Holy cow. What did Pericles say? Pericles said, dinosaur paleontologist is my dream job as a kid. It was for me too. Yeah. It's, I feel very, very lucky. But dinosaurs weren't the only things that we were digging up this past summer. We were, digging in a dinosaur-dominated kind of environment, the Almond Formation of western Wyoming. So we did find some hadrosaurs and a ceratopsian and some other dinosaurs that we weren't able to identify yet. But there were a number of other critters, too. Let me see if I can find that illustration by Russell Hawley. Let's see. There it is. Beautiful. Yeah. This is lovely. There we go. So yeah, Russell Hawley does some really excellent work. He's, I think, the education specialist at the... There, that's the one I want. At the museum in Casper. But this is an environment not too different from the one that we were digging in. This is what it would look like. You've got a big old duckbill dinosaur living there. That's the biggest dinosaur in our environment, in the Almond Formation. But there's so many other critters living and dying in this environment too. We have evidence of freshwater sharks. We've got some teeth and I think maybe some hybodont spines as well from like a hybodont shark like that. I found some teeth from a ray type creature, so sort of like a stingray, like Mylodaphus. It may also have been from a saw skate and not actually a ray-shaped ray like this. We had a bunch of scales, some of which I found, of a gar like this. Gar are these really cool fishes that are still around today, like the alligator gar. And they've got these really awesome scales on their bodies. Yeah, that's a face of an alligator gar. They get big, like really big. Yeah. And they got big back then, too. They were more common back then than they are today, and they lived in more environments. But yeah, so that's a gar right there. And then we had a bunch of turtle pieces, many of which were from trionychid turtles, soft-shelled turtles, like this guy. And, yeah, what else did we have? Some crocodile teeth and bits of jaw. I don't see a crocodile in here. What we didn't have were champsosaur vertebrae. Normally, the vertebrae from these guys, champsosaurs, this kind of lizard-like critter that wants very badly to be a crocodile. These guys are usually really common in places like, here, champsosaur. Yeah, these guys are usually super, super common in late Cretaceous strata. You find their vertebrae absolutely everywhere. Champsosaur vertebra. They've got very distinctive vertebrae. You can't miss them. We didn't find a single one all summer And they've never found a Champsosaur vertebra in the almond formation, as I understand it, which is really strange, because normally these guys are super, super common. They're more common than crocodiles. But here, none of them. Maybe it was too cold for them there, or they didn't have the right kind of fish to eat, or I don't know why. Maybe we just haven't found them yet either. But yeah, they're vanishingly rare. Unlike you, Strider G83, thanks for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. So yeah, oh, and here is a bowfin fish. And yeah, on the last day that I was there, one of our crew members found a beautiful vertebra from a bowfin. And it was like this big. So that would have been maybe like a six foot long fish. Just huge. But yeah, these guys are pretty cool. And they're also still around today, this family, called Amiids. Yeah. They are very cool fishes. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Yeah. Yeah. Fungi Mungi. Hey, thanks for the follow.
With 6-inch daggers for teeth, he was the terror of his neighborhood.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Most extraordinary group of animals that have ever appeared on this planet.
And Relax Persona, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. So bowfin. These guys were also swimming around in the late Cretaceous in these environments. So again, this is that's a pretty decent kind of illustration of like what this environment would have been like. Dominated by dinosaurs, like our big duckbill up here, but lots of other different critters at the same time, same place. So yeah, there you go. And hang on a minute. Ryu Spitfire says, I have a question. How big, length, and shoulder height was Fasolasuchus, or is it Fasal? I'm not familiar with that critter. Fasolasuchus? Let's look it up. It sounds like it's supposed to be a crocodilian. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this guy. It's a Rawasuchian. Yeah. So not quite a crocodilian, but it's related to them. Yeah. Very nice. So there's its skull right there. It's cool because these guys, they're kind of convergent on tyrannosaurs. They look pretty similar in terms of their jaw morphology and stuff, which is pretty neat. Even though they're from long, long before. These guys are probably from the late Triassic? Yeah, the Stiguolasto Union Basin, Argentina, Norian stage of the late Triassic. So yeah, these are not dinosaurs, but they would have been like the top predators of their day. This is when dinosaurs were first starting out. These guys were the big guy on the block. The top predator, and yeah, so shoot, at shoulder height, these guys might be 1.5 meters tall. Pretty cool. Yeah, an extraordinary animal. And there's a pretty decent reconstruction too. Gus Schultz, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. And these are not saltwater creatures. No, these guys lived on land. So this is a crocodilian critter that, yeah. Rawasuchian. So here's Postasuchus right here. These are land-living crocodile relatives. Yeah. Really neat animals. Really, really neat animals. Let me scoot this over so you can actually see. Yeah, not a dinosaur. but from a group of reptiles that evolved before the dinosaurs. And so these guys were kind of dominant when dinosaurs are first starting out. And then big extinction event happens. These guys all die out, and the dinosaurs are kind of left to inherit the Earth, and they just completely take over after that. Yeah. So yeah. And Izzy, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Oh, and maybe the saltwater question was in reference to these. No, these are all freshwater animals in this illustration, including the sharks. So freshwater sharks used to be much more common than they are today. Nowadays, we have like a couple of species of freshwater shark in the whole world. There used to be a bunch of freshwater sharks back during the age of dinosaurs. Most of them were pretty small, but yeah, cool stuff. So yeah. Anywho, yeah. And nice smile. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. And Icy Yogi, did I thank you for that Prime resub? Appreciate that, Icy Yogi. Thank you for helping support this broadcast and help keeping me on the air, you know? Yeah. Good stuff. Now, let me find some more photos from the summer. Yeah, this is on the first night. Just as soon as we'd gotten to camp. There's Ethan cooking up some dinner there. This is before he had our supply tent set up or anything. But you can see those sandstone structures behind him here. This is a great place to have camp. It was really, really nice. Really enjoyed it, except that there was a long walk from the vehicles up to camp. I had to haul all my gear like a quarter mile uphill. Yeah. Punisher Max, dinosaurs are found all over the world, all 7 continents, including Antarctica. We've got dinosaurs from all over the place. Yeah. And a part of that is that when the dinosaurs first show up, when they first evolve, there we go. This is what our planet looked like back then. So all of Earth's land masses were all clumped together into this massive supercontinent called Pangaea. So basically, when dinosaurs first evolve, they're able to walk to any place on Earth. So as a result, we've got dinosaurs on all 7 continents, including Antarctica. We do have an outsized number of dinosaur fossils from the United States, but that's just because we've got the most dinosaur paleontologists here, and we've got, yeah, not quite the longest history of study. I guess that would be England. That's where dinosaur science first originated. But England is a small country and does not have a lot of territory for looking for fossils in. You know, there's not a lot of desert in England. I'll put it that way. So yeah. We actually had a professor from England come out and dig with us this summer, and he was kind of astonished. You don't have landscapes like this out there. So he was pretty happy to be with us. Yeah. What does paleontologizing look like on Antarctica? A little something pleasant. Good question. It's not super hospitable. You've got to look in rock, obviously. Antarctica isn't just ice. There's rock underneath. And, yeah, shoot, we can talk about that for a minute. Let's do that. Here, yeah. Let's see. Let's find this. And there we go.
Over a decade ago, the last fossils of a dinosaur were removed that helped change the idea that Antarctica was just an inaccessible land of ice.
Yeah.
This has been one of the most fantastic experiences of my life, even though it was the most difficult.
Incredibly, it was the largest carnivore of the early Jurassic found anywhere on our planet. And it was unearthed in the southernmost continent that was once thought, only 100 years ago, to be devoid of all prehistoric life.
Yeah, definitely not. Holy cow. There's only been a little bit of fossil exploration in Antarctica, but all kinds of wonderful fossils have been found during that. Yeah.
Even evidence that the largest dinosaurs on Earth had used Antarctica as a land bridge.
Yep. Pretty cool.
But how did ancient forests, plants, and prehistoric animals thrive in a polar continent that endures 4 months of complete darkness every year?
That's a good question. Anyway, you can watch this to find out the rest of it, but let's see if I can find more footage of their field work out there. Here we go. Yeah.
The hardest place on Earth to explore for fossils.
Yeah.
Most of it is in
dinosaur. This was a subtropical delta.
Basil, thank you.
Of the big plant eaters, and of the monsters who chased them.
Yeah. Monsters like Basil. Thank you so much, Basil, for the 6 months of support. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Yeah.
With huge ice sheets covering the surface.
Yeah.
But in places, the frozen rock juts up from the ice.
This is where you find fossils.
Which is why the Transantarctic Mountains are the destination for many expeditions.
Yep.
But still, its secrets are buried in frozen rocks, in challenging places.
Yep. Big Bad Eric, there's going to be all kinds of cool discoveries there in the future.
Now retired, spent 5 decades exploring this incredibly dangerous and challenging lost world.
Yeah.
The first couple trips are tough. You're out there isolated with just a handful of people, but if you're with the right people, you have to choose the right people to take to Antarctica. I learned that a long time ago. Because there are some people that are very good scientists, but they aren't good, wouldn't be good in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been great people.
Shoot, that's true in places like Utah and Wyoming, too. You can be a great scientist, but not very good in the field. It happens. And you could be very good in the field, but not be a particularly great scientist. So finding somebody who's like, you know, they cover all their bases, it can be tricky. Yeah.
Nate Smith was once Bill's student.
Yeah.
But this season, he's a co-expedition leader.
Yeah, anyway, cool stuff. They did a lot of preparation to do and everything, but yeah, this is more the environment that I was working in this past summer, and that was, oh, fix the lighting. What did that do? I don't know. Let's put our music back on again.
The ponderous Trachodon,
Right.
82 feet long and 14 feet high.
A little something Plaisant. Hey, thank you
And not a single cavity.
for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Yeah. So yeah, oh, and this is me just after, oh, this must be the first morning. Right here. After having set up camp. There's my ginormous tent right there. I was almost embarrassed at how big my tent was compared to everybody else's. But you'll see more of that giant tent in a few weeks out in Utah. Yeah. Izzy says, Danny, which dig was the most challenging for you? I've had some summers that were very challenging for personal reasons. 2016 would be my most challenging for sure. But in terms of like the actual conditions out there, this was kind of challenging this summer. And then 2015 had its own challenges also. Yeah. I don't know. It's tough to say. Every single summer and every place that you do field work has its own advantages and disadvantages. It has its things that's easy about it, and then it's got things that are difficult about it. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, and Frank Big Time says, the problem isn't that you have a big tent, so there's not enough support for everyone to have a big tent, I guess, yeah. And some people just don't want to bring as much stuff as I did. Some people don't have their own vehicle. So, like, they come off of a plane or they get driven out by a friend or family or something, and they basically just have what they can carry in their arms. I was lucky in that I've got, you know, my own field vehicle. So I would you know, cram everything into here, and you'd be surprised at the amount of gear that you can fit in a Prius if you do it right. So yeah, yeah. And Pericles says, what sponsors your digs? Who sponsors your digs? Do you work for a particular museum or university? I don't. I'm freelance. And the whole reason that we could have a dig like this summer is because of this community. So, yeah, this was crowdfunded. This was funded through Twitch. We had a... It was, whoop. Nope, hang on. Hotkeys are not working properly. Or not the way that I intend. There we go. There we go. Yeah. This is how we funded our fieldwork this summer, through experiment.com. It's a crowdfunding website for scientists. And, yeah. This is how much money we raised. This community did that. Everybody who contributed $100 or more, they will get their name into the acknowledgments of any and all papers that result from this fieldwork. So yeah, yeah. Dig was proudly supported by viewers like you. Thank you. There you go, Lenina. Yes, indeed. So yeah. And it has been closed, Claire. Yes, absolutely. Successfully funded. Yeah, holy cow. Good stuff. And yeah, who's this dingus right here? Yeah, yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Anyway, thank you everybody for providing that funding. Holy moly. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. And Frozen Yak had a question? Where was that? Yeah. Sloppy says, I can't believe a Prius made it out there. Oh, believe it. Holy cow. Well, it's a modified Toyota Prius. I've got a lift on it, so it's got a, like, 2-inch lift, suspension lift, and it's also got special oversized tires, so it's probably 4 or 5 inches of additional ground clearance over, like, a stock Prius. And I've got an underbody skid plate and number of other modifications to make it more desert capable. So yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, does the NSF have any grants available? They do, Frozen Yak, but there are like hundreds of researchers applying for those same grants, and your likelihood of getting them is very, very low. We actually had a couple of grants that we applied to, not through NSF, but through other institutions, and all of those fell through. So this fieldwork is almost entirely supported through contributions from Twitch viewers like you. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, yeah. There is my field vehicle, and I've worked at several universities and museums. Absolutely. King of SWAT, yeah. Museum of the Rockies, Carter County Museum, the Badlands Dinosaur Museum, University of California Museum of Paleontology, Badlands Dinosaur Museum, Utah Geological Survey. I've collected fossils for the Cincinnati Museum in Ohio, and for the Natural History Museum of Utah, whose t-shirt I'm wearing right now. Yeah. They're the institution that I'm going to be collecting for in just a couple weeks when I'm out there in Utah again. So yeah, yeah. But yeah, anyway. And thank you, Confused Echidna. I appreciate that. I am definitely staying hydrated. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Well, the NSF is the National Science Foundation for you, Spitfire. Yeah, yeah. And Izzy, yeah, sorry, I didn't realize that the closed captions were off, so now they're back on. Yeah, and thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. We're at 42 out of 100 now. Excellent. Thank you kindly. Yeah. And Sloppy says, can I ask why you're not a Jeep fan, Danny? I've wanted a Jeep because I think they're cute. That's about all they are, Sloppy Salamander, yeah. They're extremely unreliable vehicles. They break down all the time. I don't know. Years ago, I worked as a delivery driver for an auto parts store, so I got to know all the mechanics in the whole town. And they had nothing but nasty things to say about Jeeps. You know, they said that Jeep was an acronym for just empty every pocket, or junk each and every part. And, I don't know. From people I know who've had Jeeps, that's, yeah. That seems to be the case. They're more of a toy than they are like an actual, like, vehicle. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I've had a number of other field vehicles. Some have been better than others. I would never, ever, ever buy a Jeep. Not in a million years. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway. The Jeeps in the 80s were solid. They have definitely gotten worse. That's definitely true, Kennedy. Yeah. They're total dog water nowadays. But yeah. Get a Subaru after all, or I would recommend a Toyota or a Honda, Sloppy Salamander. Yeah. Subarus are pretty solid, but they also have their issues. You really can't go wrong with a Toyota. That would be my, that would be my my piece of advice for you. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, anywho. Oh, you got a Yaris. Very nice, Pericles. Yeah, extremely reliable. You know? When I realized that I could put a lift onto a Prius and put off-road tires on it, that's when I decided that the vehicle that I would buy for the field would be a Prius. Doesn't have four-wheel drive, but you really don't need it 99.999% of the time. Yeah, and the wonderful thing about a Prius is if you're out traveling and you need to sleep somewhere for the night, you can sleep inside of it. And you can run the air conditioning all night long and it will not deplete the battery because the Prius has got this big hybrid battery and it'll kick on the gas motor to recharge the battery in the middle of the night, even when the car is off. And it'll only use a tiny, tiny amount of fuel. So yeah, I've slept in this many, many times rather than getting a hotel, and it saved me a ton of money. Yeah. Street Car Chris, how are you doing? Welcome, Street. It's good to have you here. So yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Let's take a look at some more of our photos. Yeah, this is our first or second night in the field right here? There we go. This is with my front-facing camera, which is always super blurry because it's all scratched up. But I'm getting a new phone very soon, so I won't have this issue in the future. But yeah, I think this might be on our... No, this is our second night in the field? Second or third? Because we've got the supply tent set up there. There's Ethan, there's Nick Longrich, there's Quinn, there's Adam, there's Fisher, and I don't know who this dingus is. Yeah. Confused Echidna says, does it get cold at night even in the summer? In Wyoming it does, in the early summer, yeah. And Campfire Stream, that was a lot of fun, Lenina. It really was. Yeah. Good stuff. Let's see here. And... yeah, there's me. Right there, about to leave for the field. Or about to leave camp to go out and do field work. Blizzaleave, thank you for the follow. Blizzaleave, appreciate you. Welcome. Yeah, and there's Ethan when he still had his mustache. With the rock saw before he had actually put the blade in it. We didn't end up using this until pretty much the end of the summer, but let me find you some footage of that, because it is amusing. This is a solid piece of equipment. Holy cow, that thing means business. Yeah. Here's Ethan using that. Right there. Yeah. Terrell Chestnut, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, holy cow. I took a lot of footage of this because Ethan wanted that. But yeah, a pretty serious piece of gear right there. Holy moly. Yeah. And yeah, lots of PPE. You can see he's got a respirator, you know, noise protection, and big safety goggles too. Yeah. And Streetcar Karis. Streetcar Chris. Carcaris, like Carcharodontosaur. No, Streetcar Chris. Thank you for the follow and for introducing yourself. Yeah. So anyway, that was pretty cool seeing the rock saw in action. I didn't use it myself, but yeah. Here, Ethan also wanted to get me to get some action shots of him and Quinn carrying down one of the jackets. Yeah, big Dennery jacket from Skull Ridge. So here's some like action shots of them doing that. And then I got in front of them and I think, there we go. That's a good photo. I like that one a lot. Triumphantly carrying down the lower jawbone of a dinosaur safely ensconced in that plaster and burlap cocoon. This is going to be a really, really important element. So, very excited to see this thing get cleaned and studied and eventually described and published. That was a good day. Liked that a lot. We got a visit from old Uncle Sam at one point. The BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, who had issued our permits to dig on their land. They came out to see us. So here's the local BLM archaeologist. That's Greg Liggett there. And then he brought a bunch of visitors, a bunch of volunteers and interns and people like that to come see. And so here is Ethan talking about that lower jawbone there. And this is the one that they carried down a little while later. But there he is pointing to it. And Bomb Daddy, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. Who will describe and publish? You and Ethan? I may or may not be an author on some of those papers. But Ethan's really going to spearhead this. This is like his project. And he's still an undergraduate at this point. So it's a big deal that he's doing this. And it's going to be a real feather in his cap. So yeah. Yeah, this whole summer was pretty cool like that, you know? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Hang on a minute. But yeah, Kennedy says, I forget what you said that environment was like when this dinosaur was alive. Well, yeah, this would have been almost like kind of a floodplain kind of environment, you know? Almost kind of like this. This is a floodplain environment at, you know, with lots and lots of water during like a seasonal flood. But something kind of like this. Very flat with big meandering rivers like this. Yeah. And at sea level. So this is right on the coast. Think of like present day Louisiana. Something like this. This is the sort of environment we're talking about here. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Frozniak says, who owns what you found? The BLM or you guys for digging it up? It belongs to the American people. So those are now publicly owned fossils because they come off of public land. But they will be officially reposited at the Cincinnati Museum. And so those fossils will be there for as long as society exists, you know? But yeah, strictly speaking, those fossils belong to we the people of the United States. Yeah. And they will go into drawers like that. Yeah. But, yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Oh, and Lenina already typed that out. Thank you, Lenina. Yeah, Lenina knows what she's talking about there, for sure. So yeah, floodplain environment. Kind of like this. Yeah, good stuff. And then, oh, yeah, there's them carrying that down.
But the paleontologist field isn't narrow to what we understand. On the contrary, we stretch our understanding to try and take in the universe.
We do. Yeah, man, there were